successive acharyas of the lineage to Jagat Guru Pujya Sri Sankar Vijayendra Saraswati Swamigal, respected Professor Vempati Kutumba Sastri, Chancellor of this university, Professor G. Srinivasu, the Vice Chancellor in charge, Professor V. Kamakoti, Director IIM, Professor Ganti Murthy, National Coordinator, Indian Knowledge System of the Ministry Government of India, all the acharyas, all the distinguished invitees, students, all the esteemed guests. Coming to Kanchi is an extraordinarily blissful experience, and that over that, listening to Jagat Guru Pujya Sri Sankar Vijayendra Saraswati ji is an added great bonus for me. This place, Kanchi, when I think of, I go back to my young student days, when my parents, my teacher used to mention about the 7 holy tirtha, when they used to sing Ayodhya, Mathura, Maya, Kasi, Kanchi, Avantika, Puri, Dwaravati, Chaiva, Saptaita, Mokshadaika. Since then, I've been hearing about Kanchi. When I got the opportunity, the divine grace, came to Tamil Nadu and started familiarizing myself more and more about this place, its heritage, and then I found that this place, this Mokshadaini, Kanchi, its glory sung by our great Nayanars, Sambandar, Appar, Sundarar. In Devaram, they have sung glory of this place. Then you come to think of it, imagine this is the place where some 2,500 years ago, Bhagavan Adi Shankar lived, walked, taught. Every inch of this place is so holy, so auspicious. To be here is indeed an extraordinary blessing. Bhagavan Adi Shankar, we have read, we have heard about his extraordinary achievements. He was builder of our Bharat Rashtra. Thousands and thousands of years ago, when the divine wisdom was revealed through our rishis in our Vedas. An extraordinary wisdom, reconciling the one with the many. All these numerous diversities that we see, essentially they are one and the same. Mam Atma Sarva Bhut Atma. Sarva Bhutesu Enaikyam. This wonderful exposition to bring the stunning diversity of creation, humans, animals, plants, animate, inanimate, all are a part of a kutumbam, because it's the same divine that permeates, that illuminates each of them. So many of us sitting here, apparently different, yet bound together integrally, like leaves of a tree. When this divine wisdom was revealed, our rishis created the Rashtra, Bharat. We know that Bharat does not fit into the European definition of a political state. It was not created by any strong man. It was created by our rishis who spread the light, the wisdom of Vedas. That's what why our scripture says, Bhadram ikshant rishaya swavida tapodiksham upanisheduragre tato rashtram balamo jastajatam. Rishis equipped with swavida atmagyan. It is their kathor, strong, tapa and diksha that created this Rashtra, Bharat. And a beautifully reconciling the variations which, while Chancellor Shastriji was speaking, he said, Ekam sada vipra baudha badanti. The most beautiful reconciliation of the diversity. Now this Rashtra, over the time, it suffered a decline. Sampradayas started fighting among themselves. Each one forgetting the core message of the Veda that we are all one and the same. When this message was weakened or lost, the chaos descended upon this Rashtra Bharat. And at that point of time, Bhagavan Adi Shankar appeared. He appeared and he traveled through the length or breadth of Bharat, bringing everyone into the fold, reinstating, reinforcing the core message of Veda, that we are all one. And having succeeded, having rejuvenated and restored Bharat, he created institutions all along in the Himalayas, Badrinath, Kedarnath, Srinagar, east and west, south, all over. Those institutions to continue serving as the spring well a spring well of that knowledge, the light, the dhara, the flow of nectar should continue and keep illuminating the kshetras wherever they are, to keep the people together as one family. And Bharat prospered again. Bharat prospered, it became what we learned in our books, Sone ki chidiya, golden bird. Bharat was the economic powerhouse of the world, largest economy of the world. In the West, Middle East, up to Rome, Central Asia. In the East, Southeast Asia, China, all over, goods produced by Bharat were feeding all these markets. And Bharat was filled with gold. We know that in Bharat we don't have much gold mines. Bharat, there is no natural source of gold, and yet Bharat was the golden bird, because through all these economic transactions and trade, gold came to Bharat. And Bharat was prospering, a vibrant Bharat. But again, when the dharmas began declining and the foreign powers started looking at Bharat with greed, invasion began. Islamic invasion first. They came, they looted, they destroyed our temples, the institutions that were serving as the spring well of Sanatanadharma, Sanatanadharma, which is the dharma propounded by the Vedas. Subsequently, some more came, established themselves. And established themselves, began ruling, began looting, began destroying, began choking all the spring wells. Some of them began imposing taxes on those who believed in Sanatanadharma. They called it jizya tax. That continued for a few centuries. Then the Europeans came. They came for trading, but then they occupied. And once they began colonizing this land, they began destroying again all the institutions of Sanatanadharma. Sanatanadharma is the soul of Bharat. Bharat is a physical manifestation of Sanatanadharma. All inclusive, no other. Even those who abuse me, accuse me, they are ours. There is no others. Such beautiful dharma. It suffered multiple attacks. We know what happened, inquisitions in Goa. Similar inquisitions happened in the rest of the country as well. Here, when I was going through some papers of the archive, I came across a document. 11th of November, 1839. 70,000 people of Madras Presidency, they wrote a petition to then Governor John Elphinstone, requesting, appealing him not to destroy our dharma. Because what they had done, they had choked, while the Islamic invaders had physically destroyed the institutions of Sanatanadharma. The British, they choked the supply, the oxygen. Because all these institutions were supported by the land, and they brought the land under taxation. Institutions perished. All our educational institutions, one by one, were closed. And when the missionaries started setting up the institutions under the patronage of the British, it was mandatory for the students to get admission. For getting admission, they had to forsake their dharma and be converted. And that letter is a testimony. The appeal, the 70,000 people, imagine, at that point of time, what could have been the population? Nearly 175 years ago, more than that. What was the population? 70,000 people signed a petition, making an appeal, please do not compel us, our students, to forsake our dharma. But atrocities continued. And then came independence. When we got independence, there was a great jubilation. We were all happy that at last we were free. Unfortunately, the assault on the dharma continued even thereafter. You know, Mahatma Gandhi, when he went to participate in a round table conference, London, and he began telling the British what harm they had done to Bharat. At that point of time in his long speech, full of facts, he described Bharat as a magnificent, beautiful tree. Magnificent, beautiful tree with numerous branches. No two branches are alike. Each branch has its own beauty, its own identity. And yet, they are all integrally connected with the trunk, with the tree. This was Bharat. What the first set of invaders did, they began chopping off the branches. Branches, cutting off the branches. But occasionally, new shoots began appearing. Weak though they might be, new shoots began appearing. When the British came, and here Mahatma Gandhi says, what they did, they exposed the roots, they uprooted, they removed the soil. They removed the soil from the roots and exposed the roots. Because when our institutions were deprived of resources, when they were deprived of the necessary nutrition, the beautiful tree perished. Unfortunately, after independence, Ma Bharati's own children, instead of replenishing it, nursing it, irrigating it, manuring it, they tried to put acid on the root, dividing the society, caste, creed, race, region, language, the politics of vote bank. It tortured the soul of Ma Bharati. And today, we are at a position where we find it difficult to believe, to know who we are. Every 10 years when the census happens, the number of caste multiplies, number of community increases, new and new divisions and subdivisions have been happening. Where is that oneness? Where is that beautiful tree? Fortunately, for the last 1 decade, there has been a change. Perhaps it's a divine intervention. At a time when the world is facing existential crisis, be it climate, be it pandemic, be it war and conflict, be it weapons of mass destruction, the world is most vulnerable today. Never before the world was so vulnerable as it is today. There are countries with weapons of mass destructions in such a number that each one of them can destroy the whole world many times over. At this point of time, at this vulnerable situation, divine intervention for Bharat to rise again, to wake up and save the world. And Bharat began waking up. Earlier, the European, the Western, or the modern system of governance was the philosophy or is the philosophy of Bahujan Hitaya, Bahujan Sukhaya, greater good for the greater number. Jeremy Bentham, his political philosophy, it becomes the root of governance of all this modern governance in the West, and so did we adopt it. When we say Bahujan Hitaya, Bahujan Sukhaya, what about those who are left out? Sanatana does not discriminate. It includes everyone. And so, the policy changed. Sarvajan Hitaya, Sarvajan Sukhaya. And that is what is Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. It is a reiteration of our Sanatana Darshan, Sanatana Drishti. When it comes to the world, it's not the power of wealth and power of military. No. The world, our drishti to the world is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Yadu Mure Yavarum Kelir. This is our Sanatan Drishti. This is what our great Bhagwan Adi Shankar had launched the mission for. Today, we find that all the spring wells, the watering holes of our civilization, our spirituality, our dharma are getting revived. Building of Sri Rama temple at Ayodhya, creating this Kasi Vishwanath corridor, Bhagavan Adi Shankar statues at Kedarnath, cleaning of our holy rivers, beginning Holy Ganga, Kasi Tamil Sangamam, Kasi Saurashtra Sangamam, these are all part of that rejuvenation. Because without this, we are nobody. The path on which this country was set on was so self-destructive that it was self-negation. Today, when we are celebrating the 2500th Siddhi day and year of Bhagavan Adi Shankar, it's a day, it's a moment of great reflection. We have to build this Rashtra. Bhagavan Adi Shankar or our Vedas are not only for Bharat. And Bharat as a Rashtra is not just a geographic entity. Rashtra, essentially the purpose is to turn the whole world into a Rashtra. Where this Sanatanadharma, that we are all one member of one family, that drishti prevails. And this responsibility to spread this is on Bharat and Bharat alone. Sri Aurobindo, a great Vedantic scholar and rishi, on 15th of August 1947, he had written his dream. He said, the moment has come for Bharat to fulfill its divine obligation. Divine obligation because this light, the Vedic light, that we are all one, the entire creation is one, it came to Bharat. And it was not an accidental, it was not a coincidence, it was a divine design that on this holy land, this light descends. And now, it is the responsibility of Bharat to spread this light to the rest of the world. Because our Vedas, our Sanatanadharma does not discriminate. There is no big, there is no small, there is no in between. Our Veda says, Te ajeshta akanishtas udvidho amadhyamaso. There is no big, there is no small, there is no middle. We are all one. Sangakshadhvam samvadadhvam samho manansi janatam. Together. Our prayers, we say, Sarve bhavantu sukhina, Sarve santu niramaya. This is what we are. This is what is our true self. And to spread the light, we have to strengthen. We have to nourish and rejuvenate Ma Bharati. Unfortunately, even today, why even today? Because for all these years, even after independence, we continue destroying, we continue torturing the soul. But now that the beginning has been made and things have started looking up, we have to heal the wounds inflicted on Ma Bharati. Still, we have so much of social discrimination. It pains me when I read the newspaper and see there are people who are in our own people, those who are made untouchables. Their entry to temples are barred. When Adi Shankar prostrate before a Chandal, when our Shastra says, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hasdanu, Suchi cha sopake cha pandita samdarshinaha. Then who are we to distinguish? Why? We have to overcome it. We cannot allow this to go. And today, that we have started waking up, and when we feel that the gone are the days of suppression, it is time that such institutions, which were the spring wells of our wisdom, our learning, our jnana and vijnana, we don't have to be just in the mode of preservation or protection. It was needed for 1,000 years to protect it, to save it, to preserve it. Now it's time to propagate it. From protection, preservation to propagation. Taking it out to the society through our achar, vichar, vyavahar. Breaking these barriers, embracing all in our fold. After all, Bhagavan Adi Shankar also said, and that is what has been our parampara, Santo Lokahitam Charanta. It is for Lokahit, for Lok Kalyan. I think our acharyas have a great responsibility to spread this light to the society. Our children, generations have been deprived of it. When I, soon after independence, I was one of those who were fortunate enough to have been taught, despite the fact that with several hundreds years of occupation and colonization, still in our schools we used to be taught lessons from Mahabharata, Ramayana, slokas from our shastras. In our school, primary school, we used to have the prayer, and the prayer used to be, हे प्रभु आनंद दाता ज्ञान हमको दीजिए, लीजिए अपने शरण में हम सदाचारी बने, ब्रह्मचारी धर्म रक्षक वीर व्रतधारी बने, अग्रता सकलम शास्त्रम पृष्ठता ससर धनु. But in the name of secularism, inflicted in or inserted in the constitutions through a fraud, we purged our entire textbook. Today our children, they are completely unaware of these. We cannot expect this Rashtra to grow and to fulfill its destiny, to spread the light to the rest of the world with this kind of youth. We have to take this light to them. We have to rejuvenate all the watering holes, all the spring wells, all the sources of this knowledge. Take it to the society. Eradicate whatever vikritis have crept into it. And this we have to do it in an age-appropriate language. We know this Satya is Sanatan. It doesn't change. But we also know that Jagat is Mithya. And this Mithya Jagat has become far more powerful with the advent of technology. Technology has made it so powerful that things which are illusion, they look so real. And it's all the more important that while we remain uncompromisingly Puritan in our essence, we must be contemporary in our expression. The Yug Anukul Bhasa. Only then, and then only, we will be able to take this message to our youth. And this is our responsibility. And at a time when we are celebrating the 2500th year, it's a landmark in the history, in the flow of time. 2500th year. For humans, it's an enormous figure. But it is a landmark. It's the beginning of a new era, Yuga Parivartan. And when through Yuga Parivartan, Bharat is going through that, our institutions, our dharmic institutions have a great responsibility to be part of it. And to be part of it in a manner that we, realizing that the dangers, the existential threat that the world is facing, the clock is ticking. We know how long. If Mother Earth is not cooled, it's not going to survive. So with sense of urgency, we have to take this message, to take this light to the society. And I'm sure, with a resolve and resolute commitment, we will take this message, the core messages of Bhagavan Adi Sankara, to our society, equip our youth to take the light across the world for the benefit of the world. This institution is special. This was built by Bhagavan Adi Sankara himself. It is here who consecrated Ma Kamakshi, the supreme Shakti that illuminates everything. This institution has a great responsibility towards building Bharat Rashtra. And I have no doubt we are conscious of it and we will do it. Friends, I wish, I pray, my wish is not that significant, when I am at the feet of Ma Kamakshi and the feet of Jagat Guru. My prayers are with all of you. These institutions to grow and fulfill the destiny. Jai Bharat.
Thank you, sir. Your reflections on the timeless principle of Sanatanadharma and the rich cultural heritage of Bharat remind us of the enduring values that have guided our civilization for millennia. It insists us to follow the path of faith, compassion, and oneness in our daily lives as taught by Sri Adi Shankara Bhagavad Padacharya. Now we invite Dr. Debajyoti Jana, Assistant Professor of Sanskrit, to propose vote of thanks.
Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Parama Pujyanam Sri Kanchi Kamakoti Pithadhiswaranam Jagat Gurunam Sri Sankara Vijayendra Saraswati Swami Padanam Charana Kamalayoho Madiyam Sabhakti Putam Pranamamjalim Samarpayami. It's my privilege and honor to stand before you all to propose vote of thanks. With great reverence and respect, we extend our humble salutation to Sri Sankara Vijayendra Saraswati Swamigal of Kanchi Kamakoti Pitham for august presence and blessings through Anugraha Bhashanam. We are extremely honored to thank Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu, Thiru R.N. Ravi ji, who attended this function in spite of his busy schedule. We wholeheartedly thank you, sir. We are very much delighted to thank our Honorable Chancellor, Professor Vempati Kutumbasastri, for his valuable presence and guidance to organize such marvelous program. We express our gratitude to our Honorable Vice Chancellor,